Good morning, everyone. So, first of all, please scan your attendance for today. Hi, Chris. Have you taken your breakfast? Sudah sarapan? Everyone, sudah makan? Lah, kenapa belum? Make sure please actually eat first before going to my class. Okay, next time. Nanti we going to take a break. So while we taking break, we'll give you time to eat your breakfast. Okay.
Okay, Doctor.
I think we have another new student who actually will be joining today. I'm not pretty sure the name. Let me try to ask the program coordinator. So we have about 18 students already. So I'm going to start another 1 more minutes. So 10:15, I'm going to start our class. So make sure you scan your attendance. So I think I'm going to start very soon. For those who still not sign your attendance, you're going to do that by end of my class. Saya off dulu. Wait now. Okay. Okay, good morning everyone. Today we're going to share, I think for the first class, for this week, we already discussed about the course information and the course assessment. So I have actually updated the course assessments. You guys can simply go to your, what we call it, your e-learning and download all the documents stated. Okay, so by the way, have you updated your profile picture here? Dah update ke belum? Kenapa saya tak nampak? I couldn't see your face. Did you remember that last time I actually requested that everyone update your profile picture on e-learning as well as on WebEx? Guys, have you updated your profile picture?
Yes,
Yes.
Doctor, I already update.
Mm-mm.
Only poster can see.
Kenapa saya tak nampak Why?
Yeah, we only can see the host one. We cannot see ourselves.
Oh, you actually can see the host by.
Oh,
Oh, that's quite not pretty sure. Is it because of the time of account? I believe so.
Sure.
Yeah, most probably I suspect due to your time of account, most probably. But it's okay lah, as long as once in a while, if I actually call your name, asking for you to give your views, your opinions, or perhaps if you want to ask something, make sure you open your camera first. Can you do that? Boleh? As usual lah. Okay. Yep, that's
boleh.
great. So right now we're going to first chapter. So for the first chapter, I have uploaded the slide already. So make sure you download the slide. For the textbook, so I'm going to share with you because I don't have any ebook, but I try to find it later. If I manage to find it, I'm going to share with you. If not, I actually will give some kind of supporting material for you to do your revision, particularly to help you answering the what we call it the test as well as final examination. Okay, so this is actually the first topic in just introduction for today. I just want to focus on the introduction, more or less what actually going to be discussed in the chapter one. You already have the idea already because this is encapsulated what you have learned for the past few years in technology management course. Okay, this subject totally focusing on technology strategy as mentioned just now. We actually really emphasize on the aspect of managing. Okay, management. That means how you actually, as a technology entrepreneurs, as managers, or perhaps as a leader in a tech-based company, going to manage, going to coordinate, going to make sure that the operation of the tech-based operation can be done smoothly. Okay, so to begin with, so this is actually the learning outcome or learning objective for first chapter. First of all, we're going to discuss about technological innovation. Wait a while. I think I want to record. Okay, so first of all, when we talk about the learning objective for the first chapter, which is, if you look here, this is more or less like the introduction. Okay, so we try to define the technological innovation is important and how firm use this kind of technological innovation to achieve their objective. Okay, so definitely for you to operate a technology-based company, you need to have this kind of technological innovation. I believe that if we try to look at from an innovation perspective, okay, so how many what we call it type of innovation? Do you know the what we call it this kind of standard when people discuss about innovation? So what basically the type of innovation or innovation categories that normally discuss here in this in the business? Anyone can give any idea, guys? Should I call your name or you want to voluntarily share with me your views? Hello? Hello? Okay, how many category in innovation? Just make a guess. It's okay. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't mind at all.
Doctor,
Yes.
is it like product or
Yes.
service?
Correct, Akmal. One of the example we actually classify under product or service innovation. What else? Lagi?
Value innovation.
Value innovation. Not directly lah. We don't consider value part of it. Most probably, we can put at other kind of category. It's okay. Good trying, Riwe. Anyone? Yes. Please. Time. Masa. Time. Not really accurate, but it's okay. So basically, according to the Oslo manual, you can Google it. Okay, Oslo manual, they define the innovation based on four main categories. Having said that, okay, when we try to set the standard and want to make a comparison, for the innovation performance for each country, they're going to look at these four main perspectives based on Oslo Manual. Okay, there are four main aspects. The first one has been discussed just now by Akmal, is about product and service innovation. The second one, we actually look in terms of the organizational innovation. Okay, so that one is actually considered one of it. And then the third one is actually process innovation. And last but not least is about marketing innovation. Okay, so these are the four main aspects. Even if you actually go to MOSTI, under MOSTI, basically there is one research unit called MASTIC. If I'm not mistaken, MASTIC, MASTIC. Normally, they're going to publish what they call it as NIS, National Innovation Survey. So the National Innovation Survey going to represent the level of innovation for the country. I mean, for Malaysia, particularly among the business firms. Okay, they're going to classify the firm according to the small, medium, as well as big company, SMEs and big companies. They're going to look at in terms of this aspect, okay? Product innovation, process innovation, organizational innovation, and process innovation. But right now, we want to focus on the technological innovation. We're going to discuss that in depth after this. Secondly, you should be able to describe how technological innovation occurs and its effect, okay? And then after that, after we understand why we need this kind of technological innovation for a company, so after that, we need to understand that each company need to come up with its technology strategies, okay? And why this is very important. Okay, and then after that, this is actually how we define the strategy based on the textbook here, and then identify the core area of technology strategy and spell out how they affect the business. Okay, so that's the reason why when we look at the operation of the company, so how that particular company trying to come out with this kind of technology strategy, and how basically how this kind of technology strategy impact the performance, okay, of the business. And last but not least, finally, we're going to describe how the core area of technology strategy differ, okay, for new and established firm. Okay, you need to understand, okay, some of the what we call it innovation or perhaps a new product basically coming from new or perhaps small firms. So how basically this kind of approach being taken by the new firm and by the established firm, that means the existing firm, there should be some kind of difference, okay? Because more or less, if we look in terms of new firm, definitely they have this kind of limited resources. They don't actually what we call it have enough manpower, but they actually very ambitious. Meanwhile, for the established firm, they have a lot of resources, but definitely they're going to face some kind of challenges, especially when it comes to the structure of the organization. It's very difficult for a big company to change its direction easily. Okay. First of all, we try to define. Oh, sorry, alamak. Okay, first of all, we try to define what is the technological innovation. I believe that you already know about this. So when we talk about technological innovation, we try to look from two main perspectives depending on the terms. The first one is technology and the second one is innovation. And if we combine these two terms, definitely we get the meaning here. Okay, kalau if you look here, so technology is the application of tools, material, processes, and technique to human activity. I know that this is actually the basic for you guys because you are majoring in technology management. Am I right? So what been discussed here is not something alien for you. It's something that you should have in your mind. What is the definition of technology? And when we talk about the application of tools, material, and processes as well as technique, it doesn't mean that it should be a high tech, something that complicated, not necessarily. Sometimes, even though it's actually very low resolution kind of technology or perhaps a low level of technology or application of tool is still considered as technology. as long as it's actually involve this kind of tools and material. Okay, and the second aspect, we actually looking from the perspective of innovation. When we talk of innovation, you need to actually separate in your mind the main difference between innovation and invention. What is the main difference, innovation and invention? Anyone? Anyone could actually give me the definition of innovation?
Like invention is bringing like a new something kind of an idea.
Sorry, Sadiq, would you please speak louder and repeat?
Invention is like bringing something new or updating something.
Okay, thank you very much, Sadiq. Okay, anyone? That's very true. That means, like Sadiq said, there is something that totally new or novel. Anyone would want to give any example of invention? Anyone? Would you give some example that could be able to differentiate between invention and innovation? Hello, hello, hello. Semua tak sarapan lagi ke ni? So, please, I want to get some example from you. Just give example. Anyone boleh bagi contoh? Can give example.
Doktor, can I
Yeah.
try?
Definitely, you boleh try. Saya tak pernah halang. Okay, please.
Doktor, I think invention is like old version of mobile phone and the innovation is smartphone, maybe? Is that right?
Invention is invention, that means you want to refer to the creation of phone.
Phone, yes.
So who's the inventor of phone?
I'm not sure, Doctor.
Anyone know the inventor of phone? Hello, budak technology management. Okay, who's actually the inventor of? I think that's very good example, but I want to actually further discuss or want to test your general knowledge. Who's the inventor of phone?
Alexander Graham Bell.
Yeah, Alexander Graham Bell. So yes, so when we talk about this, when Alexander Graham Bell created that kind of telephone, so that's actually can be considered as invention. Okay, or sometimes we also consider this as innovation as well, whereby we call it as radical innovation. Normally, when we talk about the creation of a new product or perhaps the improvement of existing product, this is where we classify the innovation into two aspects: incremental innovation and radical innovation. Okay, radical innovation normally based on the invention. Okay, meanwhile, when we talk about incremental innovation, is something that based on the improvement of the existing product. For example, like phone, like Akmal said, phone is actually getting improved from time to time. Okay, and then the new technology, for example, the camera. What else? Sekarang orang buat phone untuk apa lagi? So there are so many things. So that means the speed. So everything is actually considered as incremental innovation. Okay, thank you very much, Azri. And right now we go to the technological innovation aspect. So these are the definition of technological innovation. Is the use of knowledge to apply tools, material, and processes and technique to produce new solution to problem. That means sometimes innovation doesn't basically involve technology. Okay, it can involve other aspects. But when they actually use the knowledge to apply tools, material, and processes and technique, so this is where the element of technology comes into picture, and we define this as technological innovation. Innovation is very kind of broad. Any kind of things that involve the application of knowledge to solve any kind of problem based on the needs, based on the issues surrounding the community. So that's actually considered as innovation. If you try to look at, for example, there are elements what we call as grassroots innovation. Have you ever heard this term before? Grassroots innovation. Pernah dengar tak? Grassroots
Tak
innovation.
pernah.
Huh?
Tak pernah.
Tak pernah. Okay, so what do you think when we talk about grassroots innovation? In Malay, we call it the term inovasi akar umbi. It's very weird, but in English, we call it grassroots innovation. Anyone? Atika Alia, are you there? Atika Alia, will you please give example of what do you understand or perhaps you know about grassroots innovation? Atika Alia? Hello? Atika? Atika? Alia, Alia? 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 Awak dengar tak ni? Could you listen to me? Yes, Alia?
I think she cannot talk.
Will you
Where's the
please
mic?
speak louder? Hazel, you want to give your opinion?
Something like grassroots is like bottom of the society. It's
Correct.
driven by the majority of people, like maybe socially and sustainability.
Yes, yes. I think what you have shared just now is actually true. Because sometimes when we try to come up with this kind of innovation, we don't really speak to the respected, marginalized, or targeted group. We just make assumption. When we talk about grassroots innovation, we go actually meeting the community. We try to understand their needs, and based on the needs, based on the problem that be encountered by the community, so we try to come up with a new solution. So this is where innovation comes into picture, and normally we classify this process as grassroots innovation. At least you should know lah. Okay. Okay, but this might be related with technological innovation. For example, there is one company called Tony Bong, which is located in Sabah. Okay, because some part in Sabah, I believe ada daripada Sabah, Hani Osman ke siapa yang daripada Sabah ke Shikin? There's someone of you here from Sabah, I couldn't remember. Siapa daripada Sabah? Shikin ke Hani? Which one of you basically from Sabah?
Kindi, Dr. Kindi.
Cindy?
Shikin.
Shikin kan? Oh, mana Shikin tak datang hari ni ya? Mana yang lain-lain ni? Saya tengok baru 22 orang. Where is the rest? Kenapa tak datang ya? Saya baru perasan there are 22 people. Would you please remind your friends to datang? To attend my class? Okay? Okay. But okay, tak apalah, nanti saya akan check attendance again and again. So basically, when we talk about this, there's one company, we call it as a social enterprise called Tony Bong. So basically, the founder, basically an engineer. So he realized that many part in the rural Sabah, they don't have access to electricity. Okay, it's not because of they what we call it. It is simply because of they live in the remote area, and it's very challenging for the government to what we call it to install the electricity cable there. Is very costly. So some part of Sabah they actually couldn't get access to electricity. So this kind of social enterprise, they provide this kind of solution, which is a turbine technology. That means how they try to generate electricity to hydroelectric, something like that lah. Which is the machine is actually process electricity from the wave lah, from the river. So that's actually how it works. Okay, so that means based on the problem encountered by the community, you actually come up with some kind of innovation. For example, like Tony Bong, they come up with this kind of machine that able to produce electricity to be supplied to the community. Okay, so I hope that you understand about this, and indeed this involves technical innovation as well. Okay, so we have a class discussion. I give you about 1 minute to think of it, and after this, I will randomly call your name, okay, to give your point of view. So our class discussion, why technological innovation is important for an organization or perhaps or for a country. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute to think about it, and after this, I will call your name. Boleh, everyone? Could you do that? Think why technological innovation is very important for the company, for the organization, as well as to the country. Okay, 1 minute I give you right now. I will set the time 1 minute starting from now. Okay, think of it. At least you have 1 point to be shared with all of us in the class. Okay, 1 minute has ended right now. So anyone? Okay lah, I just simply call your name. I think you still actually sleepy, so that's the reason why I need to call your name. Can I actually ask the opinion from Melissa? Melissa, will you please open your camera and answer it?
Yes. Should I open the camera too?
Yes, yes. I actually asking a question, so
Okay,
please
okay.
open the camera.
Wait ya, Doctor.
Okay. Okay, when I call your name, please open the camera and share your views. Hey, my name is Melissa. Melissa, where are you?
Okay, Doctor. I'm still wearing my
Oh, okay. Okay, while waiting
Sorry.
for Melissa, can I actually you just be prepared. While waiting for Melissa, can I call Malini? Hi Malini, Malini, Malini.
Hi, Doctor.
Yes. Please share your views, open your camera as well.
I think technology innovation is important because it creates more, it solves problem, and it helps make sure that the lives of the people improve. And
Okay,
that's
so
why it's important.
okay, that's very general, but what do you think why is very important for the company?
To sustain for long run,
To
because
sustain for
without
long run?
innovation they might left out, and they can't sustain in
Okay,
the
that's
industry.
very good point, Malini. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. And right now, Melissa. Melissa,
Yes, Doctor.
yes.
I think technological innovation is important because uh, with the technological innovation,
Mm-hmm.
we can able to act as an agent of change, yeah, that encourage social welfare for society and encourage sustainable economic development for a
Okay.
country. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. You answered like NAC. Thank you very much. Okay, so that
Mhm.
means how they actually could be able to improve this kind of well-being of the people. Thank you, Melissa. Okay, can I get an opinion from a boy here, Iqbal? Why do you think that technological innovation is important? Just now we discussed a lot from a company perspective or an organization perspective. But right now I want to get an opinion from a country perspective. Iqbal?
Yeah, Doctor.
Would you please give your views?
Uh, Actually, technological innovation will improve standard living of the people in a country.
Okay. How?
About innovation.
Okay. Okay, it's okay. Okay, that's very good. Okay, but to be specific, thank you very much, Iqbal. Okay, so when we talk about the technical innovation, one of the aspects that we actually normally produce from this kind of technical innovation is basically being translated in terms of number of patents. Okay. For your information, normally every year, there would be like Global Innovation Index (GII), or perhaps we want to see which country is the most innovative in the world. Okay. So one of the criteria that being investigated by GII is basically through patents. Okay, so in order for us to actually have this pattern, so many of the aspects totally produced or mainly produced through technological innovation. Okay, for example, if we try to look in terms of the most innovative country, so we can see few countries, for example, like Singapore is very innovative, and I think there is top five country that normally in the top five list, which is like South Korea, because in South Korea, majority of the patent basically contributed by Samsung. Okay, they have a lot of patents. Okay, and one of the country that also have a lot of what we call it patent and very innovative when it comes to the technical innovation is Israel, undeniably. Okay, because in Israel they have a lot of innovation that being proposed by them. So Switzerland is one of the innovative country as well. I think you actually should know this is the indicator because people might think that when you have more innovation, that means you can prosper well, you have more product, economic progress very well. So having said that, this kind of aspect is very important not only for the company but also for a country. Similarly, for example, like in Indonesia, for example, okay, so there are many of technology startup that basically emerging right now. I think we have discussed and about this a lot of time. Okay, for example, we have what we call it Traveloka, Bukalapak, Tokopedia, and Gojek. Okay, that basically in Indonesia. And the fifth unicorn that being said, I think is actually being listed as unicorn right now is basically OVO, which is the fintech organization. Okay, and then there is one news that I actually recently read. There's one company in Singapore going to be listed as a unicorn very soon. In Singapore, interestingly or surprisingly, the main company that actually considered as unicorn normally coming from gaming company. Okay, people are so into game. Betul tak? Hi everyone, you main game tak? Do you actually play games? Okay, the latest company that actually being said to be the next unicorn, which is coming from Singapore, is actually gaming company. I couldn't remember the name. I tried to find it. Kalau ada lah, which is I just read, not read lah, just read. I just read the title, but don't have time to read it yet. If I actually find about this company, I'm going to share with you lah, which is going to say that going to be the next unicorn. The name is basically Secret Lab. Okay, you can actually try to find about the Secret Lab. That's actually the name. Okay, Singapore-based gaming company. Okay, so when we talk about this, undeniably gaming is kind big industry. When we talk about game, it's like a common language like other sport as well, because currently people are talking in terms of e-sport. Okay, when we talk about this, I think it's quite interesting for us to discuss about one company, big company that produce game. It's what basically when we talk about game console, who's basically the leader kalau kita cakap, you know, game console yang guys,
PS5.
yes, PlayStation. Okay, PlayStation from who's basically the producer or the company that produced PlayStation?
Sony.
Sony.
Pandai, Sony. Okay, that's very good. Okay, so basically, there's one base scenario whereby a big company in computer, which is the big company on computer industry? Can anyone guess in the software computer industry particularly?
IBM.
No, I'm talking about software. Software computing industry. Correct. Okay. Thank you very much. Siapa yang answer tu? Chris ke siapa? I couldn't actually detect who you are, but that's very true. Microsoft basically the leading for the software industry. If you're aware, Microsoft also produce this kind of game console. Apa yang dia produce? There is satu produk yang dikeluarkan. There is one product, game product produced by Microsoft. Can anyone share with me?
Xbox.
Correct. Xbox. Okay. So what happened to Xbox? This is very good case study, which is a big company try to produce this and try to compete with Sony. Can anyone actually give your opinion with regard to the survival of Xbox? What happened? Or any one of you here happen to have Xbox at your house? Pernah main Xbox tak? No, okay. So, but it's okay. At least you know Xbox basically one of the game consoles. So, what happened to Xbox? If you try to remember about a decade ago, 10 tahun yang lepas, 10 years back, so basically there are few competitors in the industry. We have like PlayStation and we have like Xbox and we also have another company called Wii.
Nintendo.
Yeah, Wii, ada Wii, permainan Wii. Okay, they are using kinetic as well. Wii Fit lah, Wii whatsoever. Okay. Okay, so having said that, PlayStation is actually still the dominant players. If you look here, so what happened to Xbox? Why a big company like Microsoft that dominating the software industry, they actually couldn't be able to compete well for its gaming product. Why? Anyone? Kita discuss ni, come on. Why do you think? Please give your opinion.
Apa doktor soalannya doktor?
Apa soalannya? Okay, sekarang ni kita berbicara pasal Xbox. Okay, whereby they actually couldn't perform well compared than PlayStation, even though the parent company of Xbox is Microsoft. So my question to all of you, from your point of view, why Xbox or why Microsoft couldn't actually what we call it perform well in the gaming industry? Faham tak soalannya? Do you understand the question, Faik?
Yes doktor.
Yeah, Faik from software engineering, right?
Yes doktor.
Yeah, would you please give your point of view why Xbox basically not so successful than PlayStation?
I think
Mm-hmm.
why PlayStation is more popular than Xbox doktor?
Yeah, something like that. Because the thing like this, I give you a scenario. For example, Xbox basically produced by gigantic firm Microsoft. It was a big company. So why basically with the resources that Microsoft have, they still actually couldn't compete well with PlayStation? Why? I just want to know that.
I think maybe because the surface from Xbox and PlayStation is a very big difference. I mean, in Xbox they don't really offer that a lot of game instead of PlayStation, and the
Mm-hmm.
price is also more affordable from the
Mm-hmm.
Xbox because in that time Xbox is quite expensive and people choose PlayStation because it's quite cheaper and there's a lot offer in the game console by itself. I mean, my software perspective because they offer a lot of game that we can buy online. Because Xbox they have to do a lot of like adjustment, have to connect to internet and also. So it's a little bit more difficult to understanding.
Okay, thank you very much. From software engineering students, now that's very true. I think it's quite a big decision for the Microsoft to venture into Xbox. First, you need to understand Xbox basically focusing on hardware, whereby Microsoft basically the main business is software. So that means they need to embark into this kind of new kind of business. That's one part. Okay. Meanwhile, if you look in terms of Sony, all this while, Sony product more focusing on hardware. For example, apa benda Sony punya product, MP3, telephone, and then if you go to Sony, there banyak recorder. Am I right? Okay. During that time, okay. So basically, if you look here, Microsoft niche business is software industry. Sony, meanwhile, is more focusing on hardware, computing industry. So when Microsoft think that they could be able to leverage the reputation, so it's quite challenging because Microsoft don't have any kind of experience yet during that time. Because if we look here, the history of Xbox starting back in 2001. Okay, they start dengan 2001, introducing this kind of Xbox. Okay, similarly, even like when we talk about what we call it hardware, contohnya, for example, Microsoft also produce their own laptop. Am I right? What is the name of Microsoft laptop? Anyone know?
Surface,
Yes.
Surface.
Thank you very much, Faik. Again, okay. Surface, okay. So how successful Surface compared than other product? Okay. So the thing is what they try to look at, they're going to actually what we call it mention or highlight that since they are very good in terms of software, for example like Microsoft Office, so they say that the what we call it the computer work well with this kind of Microsoft application. Okay, I couldn't remember, but I read something is happened with regard to Surface. Let me try to check it. The news. Sometimes I always actually read about the news from tech-based company, but unfortunately, sometimes I just read the title. I don't digest it well. But for example, when we talk about the competition, since they already produce this kind of Surface, if you actually owners of Apple product, which is MacBook, some of the features as simple as when we look in terms of Microsoft Words or Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft is very smart lah. They try to actually limit the function of of Microsoft Office or PowerPoint, especially on Apple product. Okay. Yes, definitely you can simply install Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office, which is comprised of Word, Excel, as well as PowerPoint, but they actually limit some function. Okay, so that means they try to actually make sure that people go for their product or not go to the competitors' product. Okay, so I think I have actually discussed a lot. So right now, can we take 5 minute break, boleh tak? We're going to continue at 11:01. Guys, hello everyone. Kita ambil 5 minute break. Okay, 5 minute break. So water, wash your face yang ngantuk-ngantuk tu, and after
Okay,
that we're going to
Doctor.
start to continue. Okay. Okay, guys, we are back to continue. Are you guys ready? Shikin dah ada. Shikin. Hello, Shikin. Are you there? Thank you, Faik, for the response. Yes, thank you, Chris, for the response. Okay. Shikin, mana Shikin?
Yes, doctor.
Awak sihat? How are you
Yes.
today? Tak sihat ke?
Okay je, doctor.
Okay, jaga diri. Kalau tak sihat nanti makan ubat. Okay. Okay, everyone. So kejap I'm going to continue the slide again. So kita nanti catch up siapa yang baru ni. Alamak, apa benda ni? Okay, so let me continue. So kita dah habis class discussion. So based on what we already discussed, so this is actually summarize why technological innovation is important. First of all, from the company perspective, we actually could simply say that by having this kind of technological innovation, it can be regarded as an important source of value creation. Okay, so this is where, for example, like when we talk about value creation, it's very important for them to have this in order to compete. Some of you talking in term of siapa tadi cakap, Melissa ke siapa? Oh, Malini. Yeah, Malini. Malini said that it's very crucial for the company sustainability. That means when we talk about sustainability, how the company can run the business in the long term. So this is totally related with the competitive advantage created by the firm. For the company to lead the industry or to be relevant in industry, definitely they need to come up with a technological innovation. We actually have discussed a lot of examples for portraying how important this kind of technological innovation for a business survival. Okay, if you look from the smartphone industry, if you look here, for example, every year, previously every 1.5 years, but right now, due to the very stiff or perhaps competitive environment in the industry, many companies produce a new product within 1 year. For example, like Apple, for every 1 year right now, they already propose new iPhone. Okay. And then recently, if you look at the advertisement on television, you can simply look that Samsung currently promote their new product. Apa new product by Samsung? Samsung what? I couldn't remember lah. S something. Okay, which is they have 3 camera. Okay, it's very stable in terms of the photography. I believe that nowadays when people buying phone or smartphone particularly, they're looking in terms of few aspects. First, the video. Second, the storage. Am I right? Okay. The third one, maybe they look in terms of the speed. Okay. So this is something that perhaps there are S21 Ultra. Thank you very much, Zanita. Okay, because I know that Samsung coming out with a new phone, but I'm not pretty sure the name of the model or the phone model. Okay, so that's number one. Why the company basically compete one another? Simply because they want to position themselves good in the industry. If not, they're going to be left behind. As simple as like Nokia. Okay, Nokia. Okay, so this is why you need to embrace with this kind of technological innovation. The second one is a profound effect on the creation of wealth for individual entrepreneurs and corporate shareholders. So for them to keep relevant and make sure that the level of profit could be sustained well or perhaps increase progressively, so they need to make sure that the company introduce something more. Okay, so even like at UTM, this way is quite what we call it important for one company. Do you know Natural Kiss? Pernah dengar tak produk Natural Kiss? Saya pernah beritahu tak? UTM has a spin-off, okay, spin-off company called Natural Kiss. Have you ever heard about Natural Kiss, guys?
Pernah ada.
Pernah tak?
Natural
Okay,
Kiss
tak
saya
lain?
rasa.
Have you ever heard about Natural Kiss product? The lain-lain ni, I just want Faiz, thank you very much for your response, but I want to know everybody. Sorry?
Tak pernah.
Tak pernah. Siapa jawab tak pernah? Faiz ke? Siapa jawab tak pernah tu? Okay, at UTM, we have few spin-off. Guys, before I actually elaborate more, I want to get your understanding. What do you understand by the term of spin-off company? Boleh jawab dalam chat tu. I want everybody to respond to this kind of basic question. I believe that you already heard about this since you are already third year. What do you understand by the term of spin-off company? Can anyone? Or perhaps I want everyone to respond. Go to your chat room and please respond. Respond please, everyone. What do you understand? About spin-off company. Okay. So can you give some feedback, everyone? Spin-off pernah dengar tak? Spin-off ni, Shikin, Akmal, pernah dengar tak? Atika Alia, Atika Wante. Webex yang update tak boleh chat to everyone. Oh, okay. Yes, that's actually, thank you very much. You can reply to me privately. Thank you very much. Okay, Riwe said that it's the kind of researchers of university start a business, not necessarily tak apa, at least you get some understanding. When a company, okay, this is by Zanita. By the way, Faiz actually mentioned one of the technical difficulties that we're going to face with regard to the chat function. Faiz said that Webex yang update, the updated Webex cannot chat to everyone. But it's okay, you can chat privately. It also happened yesterday and 2 days ago because I attended an online workshop. Which is this is the complaint made by all the lecturers. Some of them couldn't actually speak directly. I'm not pretty sure what is happened. I think some function or features on Webex changing here. Independent company under division of parent. Okay. Yes, this is corporate new venture. Basically, when a company take a portion of its operation and break into a separate entity, this is by Zanita. by one Aliha company create new independent company by selling or distributing new share of its existing business. A parent company want to spin off a new division. Thank you, Hazel. And then Nurul Izzah spin off. They operate independently. And then Arif Kurniawan said that operational strategy used by a company to create apa benda ni? New, I think you want to say new, you disebut NES. A new business subsidiary from its parent company. I think it's about the branch of brand from a company like KitKat and Nestle. Okay, so let me, some of you is actually quite on track to define what is spin-off, whereby we try to look in terms of the parent company and subsidiary. But when we talk about spin-off, from a research perspective, research organization perspective, spin-off normally, okay, dia ada startup. That means when the company basically open a new division. So normally we call it like corporate new venture, but not all corporate new venture basically based can be said as spin-off. Okay, because spin-off basically we try to open a new business based on the IP. Okay, IP. Maksud IP ni that mean they have the patent. For example, okay, I want to give you for example, at the university, okay, we basically run several research. We use university grant. We use the ministry grants, okay. And then when we working at the university, or even for example, if you're working at a tech-based company, you become the researcher, and then you are the one that be part of the technical team, okay? And then after you actually discover a new product or invention or innovation, you want to patent it. Yes, you can patent it, but the ownership of the patent not belongs to you. It belongs to the company. For example, if you actually working at HP, Hewlett Packard, okay, you're working at HP, you become the researcher, and then you're coming out with this kind of new technology, scanning technology, and then you actually can be listed as inventor, and then the company submit to patent it. Okay, so as long as you actually working as a full-time employees with that company, even though you are the inventor, but okay, the ownership of that patents belongs to the company, to the organization, similar with the university context. Okay, and and then if you want to commercialize, I think you should know this. Okay, when you want to commercialize this, for example, the researchers want to commercialize its product, so they need to basically make a spin-off company. And and indirectly, what they need to do when they actually open a spin-off, they need to pay a licensing fees to the organization. Okay, and organization could basically ask for royalties. This is something that you should know. But some of the universities quite loose in terms of this. But some of the university, they actually ask for equity. Many of the company, many of what we call it spin-off company at overseas universities, normally the university will be part of the board of directors. That means they have this kind of equity. At least you should know about this lah. Tak apa. For now, I just want you to get a clear understanding when we talk about spin-off company, it totally refers to the creation of a new company based on the patent or IP of that organization. That's normally we call it as a spin-off. Faham eh? But if we actually not a spin-off, that means the company just produce something that totally not based on the patent, we can say it's actually university startup. Okay, because they don't directly involved with this kind of what we call it IPs. Okay. Okay, so I think the next part, the magic impact on our life as people, and then may have adverse consequences. Okay, some of the company when they're so engrossed, that means they are so attached with the development of a new technology. Okay, they put all the effort and resources, is going to impact negatively to the company performance because they might overlook the potential of other product. Okay, I think the situation maybe can be looked in terms of when Steve Jobs want to produce Lisa, want to focus on that particular project, and it's totally impact the company focus, the company resources, and then that's the reason why the board of directors decided to sack Steve Jobs back in the mid 90s from Apple, though he's actually one of the main founders for Apple. Okay, because they're afraid that when we focus on that thing so much and it doesn't actually guarantee a success, so eventually it might create an adverse consequence. Okay, so I think that's actually we discussed about technical innovation, and right now we want to focus on the important implication. As I mentioned just now, not all technological innovation basically guarantee a profit. Okay, you need to understand that. Secondly, there are many kind of technological innovation. Okay, because some of them is not direct, some of them one-to-one, some of them focusing on relation between technology change and new product or processes. Having said that, when we actually you as a technology strategist or perhaps as a manager or as an entrepreneurs, when you want to actually focus on this, you must actually foresee how profitable or how impactful the technical innovation that you want to propose in the company. Some of the technical innovation might require, aspect and it doesn't guarantee so many things. It's like testing the water. That's why, um, even though it can bring some positive impact, but you need to what we call it cautiously decide whether it's actually worth to be undertaken. Okay, I think reason why the faculty has decided to offer this is based on out of this context, whereby we actually I think this semester we actually focus on technology forecasting. There's one new subject tak pernah diajar mana-mana, which is this is the first time the faculty open a subject called technology forecasting. You ada ambil tak? Any one of you here basically
Ada.
Chris ambil? Okay, that's very good. Okay, so basically, technology forecasting is where we want to focus what basically the next technology and then how basically the impact. There are so many things when we talk about this. Okay, previously I have attended this kind of technology forecast course for 2 days, but we actually focusing on scenario planning. Okay, how we actually look from the scenario planning. That means a lot of probability. That means we make some kind of prediction. Okay, what happened if change of government? What happened if natural disaster happen? What happened if a new technology comes in? What basically the impact? So that's actually the element of scenario planning, and then how much percentage. So we need to observe from a bigger perspective, not only what happened in Malaysia, but also happening all over the world. Because the application of technology is like integrated. That means it's like what we call it. It's going to be diffused, okay, from one area to another area. If we don't do it, definitely other country will adopt it and they will actually perform better than us. That's the reason why having this kind of technology forecasting is very crucial. Okay, so I just want to go to the next aspect for the chapter one, which is technology strategy. Okay, so a strategy is the we do understand. Okay, technological innovation is very important. So you as a manager, you need to formulate a technology strategy for the company. What is it? It's basically the approach that the firm takes to obtaining and using technology to achieve a new competitive advantage. Wait for a while, tiba-tiba ada pula all newspaper ni. Wait. Okay, saya continue. Okay, so basically, you need to actually have this kind of strategy. More importantly, besides you want to achieve a new competitive advantage, you also want to defend, okay, an existing technology-oriented competitive advantage against erosion. That means against this kind of new advancement in the technology. Some of the technology might be become obsolete. Okay, if you don't embrace, if you don't actually embrace with the new technology, we don't update your features, people might get bored. They're going to move to a new product, to the competitor's product, which is much more efficient and perhaps affordable. So that's the reason why, due to this kind of advancement, you always need to come up with the technology strategy. This is actually the main aspect for this topic as well, for this subject, because you need to know how to manage a company using this kind of technology strategy for the firm's survival. That's it. Okay, that's actually the keys. That means the core element for this subject. Next. So if you look here, this strategy is different from overall business strategy. I do acknowledge that most of you here also learn a subject called strategic management. Dah belajar ke belum? Strategic management, SM.
No, Doctor.
Not yet. Okay. Fourth year baru belajar. Oh, okay. So strategic management, we actually looking from overall what we call it operation of the business organization, which is we call it like from the bird's eye view. Okay, you need to look in terms of all the operations, all the challenges, as well as the consequences of each aspect. Okay, but here when we talk about technology strategy, it's something that different. For example, it's higher uncertainty, because when we talk about technology, it's totally based on the how fast we can adopt with the technology, and perhaps for example like COVID-19. Okay, we didn't expect this to be happen, but since it's actually require fast action, that's the reason why you look many companies try to what we call it, become the leader in offering the vaccine. That's one part. Secondly, when we talk about not COVID-19 is not about changing the medical or healthcare perspective. It's changing everything. Am I right? The way we actually, for example, this is an example. The way I'm delivering the lecture now is I didn't expect it to be happen. Okay, comprehensively like this. Okay, I do understand that in the future, definitely online distant learning can become one of the main aspects, but it's actually getting faster due to the what we call it COVID-19. That's one part. And perhaps people currently talking in terms of for the Muslim in Malaysia, definitely we actually near to Ramadan. And yesterday or 2 days ago, the government said that you can perform Tarawih prayers as well as the Bazaar Ramadan. That means the night market during Ramadan could be open and operated as usual. So this is totally changed the way we do the business. Perhaps we need to follow the SOP, so on and so forth, and we need to use this kind of app as well. Okay, and I believe that even myself right now, I consider myself as heavy users of what we call it what we call it delivery, online delivery services. Okay, for example, anything I want to buy, I'm very lazy to go outside, and I actually simply can order through apps. Okay, so more use of IP, that's very true. Okay, because we want to protect, I think we have already mentioned about that. And sometimes results are new to the world. Okay, like COVID-19 example. Okay, we do not know how to react with this kind of new things. Okay, and most probably, one of the aspects that people started to think, I mean, from a political perspective, how are we going to conduct the election, for example? Okay, because definitely by this year, Sarawak state government's going to need to organize election. Okay, so most probably based on the worst scenario that we accounted, I mean, the government accounted in Sabah election, they need to come up with a new SOP. Okay, and create strategies and dynamics that are different. Okay, because when we talk about what we call it dynamic capabilities, especially, so how basically the firm react fastly, we cannot wait. Okay, even some of the what we call it business, they need to pivot their business operation, as simple as when we talk about cinema. Okay, because cinema is one of the business that much affected. So what they are doing, they're selling popcorn. That's for example. Or perhaps the gymnasium before. Okay, for example, like all this while, the main business is actually people go to the gym physically, and suddenly they need to close the operation for more than 1 month. Definitely, it's going to impact their profit. Okay, so in order to make sure that they still get this kind of revenue, so they need to pivot to the online yoga class, online fitness class, and then they charge with a minimum fees, but at least they could generate some money. And definitely they're going to continue this kind of thing, even though the gym already been open lah. Okay, and then require different organization. I think we're going to discuss that thoroughly later, the different structure of the organization when it comes to commercializing the technology, and then use different decision making tools. Yes, that's very true. You need to actually not looking in terms of SWOT only. Perhaps you also have another aspect to look in terms of the technology perspective, and then open up new opportunities. And last but not least, face different strategy issues such as technical standard. Okay, we have a topic later, which is the second or third chapter, whereby we're going to discuss about the technology evolution stage. And inside here, we actually look in terms of what we call as a technical standard. Do you understand what is the meaning of technical standard, guys? I just want to get your feedback. Do you understand the meaning of technical standard, having this kind of technical standard? Guys, please respond, say yes or no on the chat room. Okay, as simple as, yes, tahu? Chris? Quality? Okay, for example, like the main apparent example when we talk about DVD, VCD, kind of standard. Okay, Blu-ray, for example, previously, and after the MP3. This is actually where, when we talk about the new technology, many company will come in, and there are a lot of standard happen, but there's one time where the dominant company will set the standard and everyone need to follow. That means the kind of those who actually able to set the standard, they will become the leader. Okay. So in this kind of new technology, for example, vaccine, currently we don't actually what we call have a definite kind of vaccine to be taken. It's totally depending on the country's decision based on the affordability and how fast the vaccine could be delivered, and the MOA, or perhaps the agreement that we made with the pharmaceutical company. But here, for example, tak ada standard yet, because it's very difficult for the World Health Organization to decide which could be accepted, as long as they know how to overcome the problem fastly. Okay, that's actually the example. And then the next aspect, class discussion, which is this is the last slide for today. What I want you to do, oh my god. Okay, what I want you to do, okay, what I want you to do, basically, this is actually class forum. Do you think that Astro, do you know Astro? For those who are not Malaysian, Indonesian, do you know Astro?
Doctor.
Tahu? Faik, do you know Astro?
Yes, doctor. In my house I get Astro.
Wow, okay. Where is your house?
Tanjung Balai, doctor.
Tanjung Balai? In Indonesia ke?
Depan Johor, depan Singapore. Sebelah Batam.
Oh, awak dekat Tanjung Balai. Oh, dia bukan Karimun eh?
Tanjung Balai is Karimun, doctor. The name of the island.
Sebutlah Karimun. Okay.
Okay, my apologize.
I never been there. Hopefully, I can visit you and you become the tour guide later. Boleh? Bisa ya? Okay, so I just want the Astro. So basically, Astro is basically up to the level, even though it's starting with the oligopolistic kind of economic model. But right now, if you look here, at one juncture, it's become monopolistic. That means the monopoly, this kind of paid view television. And then we're going to actually discuss about the advancement of what we call it online streaming services. That mean online television services by Netflix, iFlix, so on and so forth. So I want you to actually think about it. do you think that Astro is going to survive in the next 10 years? Okay, don't answer it right now. So what I want you to do, let me stop sharing. This is for our class discussion. We're going to continue on next week. We're going to end class very soon. Where is it? Okay, saya share dulu di sini. Kejap So if you look here, so if you go to your e-learning, so please I want you to participate in this kind of forum. Okay? In the forum. Boleh? So we're going to discuss after this. Boleh, everyone? During our next class. Okay? Guys, I need a consensus. Okay, so this is actually kind of like what we call it class discussion, but you're going to do it after this. Okay, we almost end the session right now, so make sure you involve in this forum. I want everybody to give your point of view with regard to how the Astro could be survived in the next 10 years. That means right now it's 2021. Do you think that Astro can survive in 2031? This is based on your prediction. We want to forecast the operation of the business. Okay, so I think that's all for today. For those who still not scan your attendance right now, yet, please scan it right now. Okay, thank you everyone. Have a nice day, and I'm going to meet you again. Oh, by the way, before we end this class, I actually tentatively, it's not confirmed yet, based on the approval that I managed that I will get soon, most probably. Okay, so next week, starting on Tuesday until Friday, I need to attend a workshop in Putrajaya. Okay, so I'm going to update you whether we have a class or not. So be prepared for the class. I try my best to organize the class depending on the schedules that have been given to me, because I need to write some kind of technical papers during the workshop. So I'm going to update you for next week, because that's depending on the approval that I get, as well as the schedule that will be given to me. And then I just said this morning with the organizer, is it possible if I skip from the session for my online class? So they said that could be managed lah. Okay, so that's actually my early announcement. Okay, so be prepared for the class to be resumed or for the class to be postponed. Okay, any question? If there is no question and you have scanned your attendance, you may leave the session right now. So again, I'm going to meet you again by next week, inshallah. Okay, thank you very much everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, bye bye.
Thank you,
Take care.
Doctor.
Thank you,